students, and welcome to Mr. Sandwich Reads. I am Mr. Sandwich, and today I'm going to be reading, what chapter of Jerry Spinelli's Stargirl? We're going to be reading chapter 28 of Jerry Spinelli's Stargirl. That's on page 152, and when we last left off, they had just entered Phoenix after a car trip to Stargirl's oratorical contest. She has victory on her mind. She is got this vision that she is going to win and get a hero's welcome back at Micah. So let's find out here. They are entering Phoenix for the oratorical competition. Page 152, chapter 28. Her parents met us in the lobby of the hotel where Susan, Mr. McShane, and I each had a room for the night. After we checked in, the five of us ate a buffet lunch in the hotel restaurant. Then we watched Susan board a bus that would take her and 18 other contestants to Phoenix West High School. There were 38 contestants, 19 had already given their speeches that morning. By the end of the afternoon, 10 finalists would be chosen. The finals would take place that evening. To be honest, none of us was surprised that Susan made the cut. She was incredibly good. The surprise was this: her speech was new. It was not the one she had given at Micah High. It was not the one she had been practicing for weeks in front of me and Peter Sinkowitz and assorted saguaros. It was not the one I had heard just the day before. But it was wonderful. There were some elements of the old speech in it, and much that was as new as that morning. Like a butterfly, her words fluttered from image to image. She swung from the distant past, Barney, Archie's Paleocene rodent skull, to the present, Cinnamon, to the future, to the distant future, the death of the sun. From the most ordinary here, the old man nodding off on the bench at Tudor Village, to the most extraordinary there, a newly discovered galaxy 90% to the end of the universe. She touched on silver lunch trucks and designer labels and enchanted places, and when she said her best friend gave her pet rat a ride on his shoulder, tears came to my eyes. It was a jumble, it was a mishmash, and somehow she pulled it all together. Somehow she threaded every different thing through the voice of a solitary mockingbird singing in the desert. She called her speech, "I Might Have Heard a Moa." The auditorium was half full, mostly with small groups of students and parents from the competing schools. After a contestant finished, his or her supporters whistled and whooped, as if doing so would influence the judges. The rest was polite applause. When Susan finished, the four of us managed a modest cheer, but that was about it. No whistles, no whoops. I think we were made of more timid stuff than the speechmaker herself. Being Stargirl is not so timid or shy. Back at the hotel, Mr. McShane and I mobbed her, if two can be a mob. Her parents were more reserved. They were full of smiles and well-dones, but they seemed no more surprised at her success than Susan did. When the adults went off to the gift shop, I had her to myself. I said, "Where did that come from?" She grinned. "Did you like it?" "Sure, but it's not what I've been hearing for the last month." "What were you doing? Practicing a secret speech on the side?" The grin got wider. "No, that was the first time I heard it too." I stared at her. Slowly, her words sank in. "Let me get this straight. You're saying you just made it up this morning?" "I'm saying I didn't even make it up. It was just there. All I did was open my mouth and let it out." She held both hands out to me and snapped her fingers. Presto. I gaped at her. "What are you going to say tonight?" She threw out her arms. "Who knows?" All right, so Susan went off script here, not practicing. We're not done with the chapter just yet. It takes a little break. We'll find out here as the evening portion, the finalist portion of the contest, what she comes up with, because she that morning or that afternoon did not go with what she'd been practicing in front of Leo. The five of us ate an early dinner in the hotel restaurant. Afterward, we waited in the lobby while Susan changed clothes. She stepped off the elevator wearing a peach-colored pantsuit. She slinked across the lobby, modeling for us. She sat on her mother's lap and said, "My personal seamstress made it for me." We applauded lightly, and I sent her off on the bus. The general public was invited to the evening show, and the auditorium was packed. People stood in back. Down front, a high school orchestra played rousing music by John Philip Sosa. I should know. I think that's Sosa. I should know that. That's a very famous band. It's like the one of the people that pioneered band music. The 10 contestants sat on stage. 7 were boys. All of the contestants appeared to be grim and nervous, stiff as mannequins, except for Susan, who was bending the ear of the boy sitting next to her. She nodded occasionally, but kept his eyes and spine at attention and obviously wished that she would shut up. Susan's parents chuckled knowingly at her behavior, while I tried to disguise a stab of jealousy. One by one, the contestants took the long walk to center stage to give their speeches. The applause was equally hearty for all. A grade school girl in a frilly white dress handed each contestant a bouquet of roses, yellow for the girls, red for the boys. While the girls cradled their roses, the boys looked at them as if they were handed grenades. Susan was next to last to speak. When her name was called, she bounced up from her chair and practically ran to the microphone. She did a sprightly pirouette, a curtsy, waved her hand in a window washer motion, and said hi. Accustomed to seeing stiff, mortified contestants, the audience responded with uncertain titters. They didn't know what to make of this unconventional teenager any more than we had on the first day of school. Several bold souls said hi and waved back. She did not begin, at least not in the usual sense. There was no ringing preamble. She merely stood there comfortably chatting away as if we were all on rocking chairs on her front porch. Murmur drifted toward the ceiling. People were waiting for her to get started. The murmur subsided as it occurred to them that this was it, and they were missing it. The quiet that then fell over the auditorium was absolute. I was more tuned into the audience than the speaker, and if for the last 5 minutes of her talk anyone was breathing, I could not detect it. When we finished with barely a whisper, "Can you hear it?" and leaned with her cupped hand to her ear, 1,500 people seemed to inch forward, straining to hear. There were 10 seconds of purest stillness. Then she turned abruptly and went back to her chair. Still, there was no reaction. What's going on? I wondered. She sat forward in her chair, her hands folded primly in her lap. And then it came, suddenly, explosively, as if everyone had awakened at once. We were all on our feet, clapping and shouting and whistling. I found myself sobbing. The cheering was as wild as that of the crowd at a championship basketball game. So just like the basketball game, remember that people were blaming Stargirl for having ruined their chances. Well, now she's got this crowd rooting for her, cheering for her, and Leo compares it much like fans would be cheering at a basketball game championship. So Stargirl, we'll see. Has she won the contest here? We know that her speech was met with applause, and she asked everybody to kind of listen to just like with Leo in the Enchanted Place, just like listen to all the sounds of the universe. Listen to that. Be a part of that stillness, and you can tap into sort of the soft voice of the universe if you believe in enchanted places. Let me know if you do, and I hope you enjoy it. Keep following along. We're towards the end here of Stargirl, so I hope you are enjoying that. Continue to enjoy that, and like if you like, and subscribe if you haven't. All right. Peace, students.